This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy and other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Today it's do or die. 4 teams are up for an early exit and they're going to have to pull out all of the stops if they want to make it to the next round. Hello everybody and welcome to day 4 of Masters, coming to you from UOB Live in Bangkok, Thailand. I am your host Yingsu, and on the desk today alongside Mimi and Ender for elimination. How are we guys doing? How are we feeling?
Doing good. I mean, the games yesterday were ridiculous. We started with our first map 3, and then, I mean, EDG looking like they're back in champs form again with that last map.
Yeah, I mean, I was just blown away by the repetitive OTs in that series. We went from the most close series of all time, the most close game of all time, to an absolute blowout to finish it off.
Yeah, and of course, Vitality become the first team to make it to playoffs.
And setting records while doing it. Durka having a ridiculous series as an individual, the first player to reach 2,000 kills at a global event. But Vitality really needed him to play like that. He bailed them out a lot of rounds here.
Yeah, he really did. And honestly, I think that whole series was just really top-notch form. Those teams fighting against each other. Then you have EDG coming in the second series, Chi-Chu playing absolutely out of his mind. And honestly, I was a little bit surprised by how much EDG were able to ramp up over the course of the series and end up dominating G2.
I was not surprised. Sorry, I was an EDG believer. There you go.
And I love that for you. But I thought they could win. But doing it like that on Pearl is truly impressive. They look peak. And it wasn't even like a complete Kung takeover. Like you're saying, Chi-Chu looks like the best player on the team right now, which is so weird.
Yeah, and of course, even though DRX and G2, they did lose, they're not eliminated. They will be facing the winners of today's matches. And Ender, at this point, with elimination on the line, nobody wants to go out this early. This is almost too early.
No, you've got to try and avoid it, obviously, right? But at the same time, I think this match, while it's important to win, it's also important to just get their groove back, right? With all of our #1 seeds winning in the first round, these 4 teams today are always going to be the underdogs unless they can start proving they're head and shoulders above the rest.
And I think for a lot of teams, we saw big underperformances compared to what they showed regionally. These squads had a little bit of time off, a chance to reset, but still, it's a lot of pressure on one match. If not, you're going straight home.
Yeah, and who will survive today? That will be the theme and subject of today's MasterCard fan poll. Scan the QR code and tell us who you think is going to stay alive in the lowest here. Would it be Sentinels, Liquid, T1, or Trace? We'll have the results later on. And make sure while you're at it to use the hashtags VALORANT Masters and VCT so we can feature you on the show. For me, my eyes go towards that second matchup. I really cannot predict at this point if Sentinels have a better chance or Liquid have a better chance. What do you guys think?
It's hard. I think I'm kind of coping for Sentinels right now, but I thought they were going to be better coming into the tournament with a little more time to work on things. I was looking back to what they were able to accomplish last year, but that first match sort of drained that hope out of me.
Yeah, they got crushed by DRX, but Team Liquid, they had a much closer game, but I think they lost in more debilitating fashion. Like, it was back to some really big mistakes, but both those squads bounced back regionally, so you got to put some faith in them.
Yeah, we love a clout matchup as well. That's going to be a nice little clout game we have a little bit later, but I'm sure you guys have noticed we've been talking a lot about the dawn of the Dualist here in Bangkok, and Kakuka sat down with 2 of the best for a quick chat.
Hello everyone, I'm joined by Zekin from Sentinels, Kankan from EDG, and Luna to help with some translations. And since the title for this event is Dawn of the Dualist, I wanted to get some thoughts on your perspective of some things regarding the Dualist role. So I'm going to start with you, Zekin. How do you think the meta is right now, and how do you think it impacts you as a Dualist? Do you feel like you can have the same impact that you had in the past?
I think the meta has slowed down a little bit because Vise is really popular and they nerfed Neon, but I still think I can have really good impact and be really aggressive.
How important do you think is for other teams to understand these trends and to some extent follow them?
I think it's pretty important. I think right now you can't go super fast, can't rush everything. So I think it's important to know that, but I think for the most part teams can play pretty similar.
Pretty similar, okay. kind of a similar questions I want to ask for Kankan, since they are still running the neon and whatnot that we saw so much on the previous year. Do they think that maybe they have a disadvantage this event because they haven't implemented these new tendencies?
其实没有什么影响吧，而且我们也不只会用霓虹，对吧？所以说我觉得其实都还好，只是在一些特定地图去使用霓虹而已。
I think for our team, there are not too much impact about Neon. Seems like we are not the team that we can only use Neon this agent. We just use Neon on like particular maps when we need. Yeah, something like this.
And what about, I wanted to ask you, what about the Yoru? Do you think it's something that we will see in the future coming from you guys?
肯定会的。
Definitely.
Okay, definitely. Okay, I also wanted to ask, since you know, looking back in the years, you've both been pretty successful as duelists. But if you could go back 2 or 3 years and give yourself some piece of advice that you think will help you even to this day, what do you think it will be? I'm going to start with you, Zekin.
I mean, a few years ago, I was playing Initiator, so I'd probably just tell myself to switch to Duelist, but...
Yeah, but in the moment that you swapped to Duelist,
in the moment that I swapped,
what would you have loved to know?
I'd tell myself to be really aggressive, don't be scared, and just fight as much as I can.
Okay, same question.
不需要做任何东西，就做我自己就好了。
There is no need to say something, just be myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so EDG sent Sentinels to the lower bracket in Champs. I'm sure you both remember that event pretty well. What were your biggest takeaways on the opposing team, and especially on the Duelist? Again, I'm going to start with you, Zekin.
I mean, I know Kang is really cracked. I knew that before, but definitely knew it after as well. I think I just needed to play really confidently. Coming from that match, I knew I needed to play more confident in the future, but it was a really fun match.
我觉得说到最大的收获应该是不要畏惧对枪吧。其实，在图一的时候，我们其实挺害怕的，但是自信找到之后，就开始找回自己了。
I think just not be afraid to pick with your opponent. Maybe at the map 1, we're a little bit scary, but after that, we just find ourselves back.
Yeah, okay, that's great. And lastly, again, since this is Dawn of the Duelist, and we will have a new Duelist when the event is over, what would you like this new agent to have so you can exploit it to the max? Do you want it to be insanely broken? Do you want it to be a little bit more tamed? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'd love for it to be insanely broken. I think if they have cool movement abilities, I'd be really happy. I think those are the 2 things I'd like.
我希望它有位移就行了。
I think it can just like have very flexible movement in the site. I wish it could be that.
I love how we just kind of steered away from the neon and the movement, and everybody just wants the movement back.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Luna, for the translation, and best of luck for you guys in the tournament.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you've just heard from Kakuka, we will have a new agent debuting on our stage before the grand finals. Following the reveal, you'll get to see them in action as well during a show match packed with some of your favorite content creators. You'll see tens here for Team International taking on Team Thailand, which is going to be led by Super Bus. I am very excited for that show match, of course, with the return of some of our beloved personalities, but there is another agent we need to talk about, the one that every single team seems to have implemented in this tournament. Of course, I'm talking about Yoru.
Wait, is he coming for us?
for us?
Yo, get down, turn the flash.
Wait, is this Martine? Hi, Martine. You made it. Hello.
I'm a little scared. I see blue in my vision.
Oh, God.
I tried to turn the flash.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, we didn't get shorty that time, which is nice. But we do have to talk about the Yoru because, as you mentioned before, Mimi kind of overpowered.
Yeah, this agent is just ridiculous right now. I think what makes him so cool is the variety of different roles he can fill in a comp. He's a dive agent with the teleports. He's a flash agent who can sub in to comps without other flashes. And on top of that, he has one of the most powerful ultimates in the game that is so strong right now when combined with other agents.
Yeah, the way you can combine that, like you're saying, with a breach stun, with Sovol, you'll see players like body blocking, even in the dimensional drift form, and that can interrupt players so your Sova can get kills. It's kind of crazy, and honestly, I think Yoru's been this powerful for a very long time. It's just taken pro teams a very long time to actually get to this point. And now that the meta is featuring a lot of agents that combo nicely with it, his power level is just going through the roof.
Yeah, not only does he combo well with, say, the Teo, where you have global utility that you can set up with it. Breach is very common, who also combos well. But but he's also a great counter to, say, Vi's, where you see the clone is the perfect way to deal with the wall, to deal with her utility. So he's just in an incredible spot right now with great util, one of the best ults in the game, and fitting perfectly into the meta.
And the fact that he has flashes as well means that you can start, not playing as heavy flash initiators. You get to play more things like the Teo. You can run double controllers if you want. You can play a Yoru plus arrays and do some double duelist action as well. So he's just so incredibly flexible that it's pretty smart that basically every team right now is trying to play as much Yoru as possible.
Yeah, I've loved Human's Yoru so far, but I cannot believe we haven't seen Durka's Yoru yet.
It's
or
crazy
even
because it was so good in EMEA for him too, but I expect as the tournament continues, even the teams who haven't thus far, we might get to see some more comps coming out with Yoru because he's just so strong right now.
They're saving the fake clone strat, they're saving it for a little bit later, but maybe we see Buzz play it because T1 will be in action. But we have to inform you, there has been a roster swap here for this match. Sylvan is back for Carpe, which means Carpe will not be playing today. And Ender, talk me through this, because we have seen this before.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, because Sylvan was starting the kickoff tournament with T1, but then was brought out from the team, and then Carpe comes in. They end up going on to acquiring second place. But it seems to me like maybe T1 just want to get some confidence back or something, because even once they brought Carpe in, they're only 1-3 as a team in series that they've played since that change happened during kickoff.
But I can't help but worry that it's an overreaction. We've seen this in the past, even I think like DRX when they were doing their roster shuffle with Foxy9, where if you lose confidence in a player and you want to make a change in the middle of the tournament, it puts so much pressure on that player coming in. And the game is in a point right now where so much comes down to the synergy between the team, the micro of your utility integrating into a roster. And Sylvan, he's played with them before, but to me it just feels weird to react from one loss, make another change when your entire tournament life is on the line.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is it is just one change, or one game that they've seen tape on Carpe to go for this swap. So yeah, it is a little bit odd, and honestly, I think for T1, it's probably more to do with the fact that they feel like they need to do something drastic to get themselves back in the tournament.
Yeah, a lot of people might be asking, is he better than Carpe? Who is more suitable? It doesn't matter because he has to be better to justify this change. We actually spoke to Sylvan a little bit earlier to get his thoughts ahead of today's elimination match alongside Mika Fabs.
Hey guys, Mika and Vera here, and we're with Kai from Trace Esports. Now Kai, the team talked a lot about disappointment, especially with the previous match. I'm wondering how you were able to regroup, especially going into a match right now with such veteran players like Stax, like Meteor, like Buzz. So how is that going to play out?
在上一场失利之后，相信队伍还是比较失望的，回去应该也谈论了比较多。今天即将面对到 T1， 像他们拥有像 Meteor、Buzz、Stax 这样经验丰富的选手的时候，你们做了哪些准备呢？
我觉得首先我们得专注游戏本身嘛，然后今天的准备的话就是送你们回家。
Firstly, I think we need to be fully concentrating on the in-game content. As for what we have done, we're fully prepared to send you home.
Oh wow, that is spicy. Good luck to you.
Of course, that was Kai on the side of Trace, who is under equal amount of pressure, going to this elimination match.
And clearly to him, the in-game content matters a lot. So it's all about buying as many skins as possible, kitting up that collection before going on the stage.
I don't know if that's what he meant, dog.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe more like the gameplay.
I mean, some of those skins, they just shoot better. I don't know.
Well, the good news is we do have Sylvan, so let's hear from him.
Hey guys, Mika and Jen here, and we have Sylvan from T1. Now, this is your first match in Masters Bangkok. This is also your time on the global stage, so I'm wondering what thoughts are going through your head, especially since this is a very important match for T1.
실반 선수, 오늘 실반 선수에게는 마스터즈 방콕 그리고 어떻게 보면 국제무대 첫 경기잖아요. 좀 지금 감정이 어떤지 듣고 싶습니다.
일단 제가 첫 국제 대회인데 일단 너무 설레고 재밌을 것 같고 일단 저희가 지금 한 번 지면 큰일 나는 상황인데 일단 그거를 좀 어떻게 좀 잘 좀 해가지고 플레이오프까지 갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Well, yeah, it definitely is my first debut in the international stage and also Masters Bangkok. But we're in a dire situation here, lots at stake. So I'll make sure that I try my best to lead the team into playoffs.
Good luck to you. Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
It's definitely not an ideal situation to come in, but dire situation. What do you make of that?
I mean, lose a game and you're done 0-2, so it seems pretty dire to me.
Yeah, it does, and it's a lot of pressure for this guy. Like he mentioned in the interview, his first time ever appearing on a global stage, and it's coming off of a pretty tough loss for T1 to start off this tournament. They showed some good things at the beginning of that fracture against Vitality, but then Durka got an op on the defense side. They couldn't really find out a solution, and the game slipped away from them.
Yeah, it seemed like as Vitality were heating up later into the halves of those maps, T1 just were getting outmatched on every front, even when, you know, Buzz is bringing Operator into the fray. Dirk is just hard holding him, shutting him down. So a lot of those fights that you'd expect T1 to actually have been winning just weren't going their way on the day.
But there are silver linings to this, though, because as you guys mentioned, it is that one change. It's somebody they played with already before, but they still have the veteran presence on the team. Players like Buzz, Mimi, that have in the past have dug, you know, some of the other players out of a hole.
Yeah, Buzz, I mean, he's famous. His time with DRX never got grouped at a global event when playing with them. The last time was 2021 on Vision Strikers when that happened.
Really got to roll back the clock for
yeah,
that.
So this is one of those guys that steps up in big games like this, and even in their failure against Team Vitality, I think he still looked pretty solid. Was getting key entries for them on the race, still looked confident, was playing well with the team. If there was a silver lining from that match, I think it was Buzz.
Yeah, and I think going into this matchup against Trace as well, right? Like, you're going to be going up against a little bit less of the structure that we saw from Vitality bringing it against them, so definitely more chances for your Duelist player to sort of unlock himself in the server.
And again, he doesn't have a choice. He has to step up here. We actually had a chat with Buzz as well after their debut here on stage. In this moment, in this omen even, player moment.
안녕하세요. 현재 T1에서 활동 중인 버즈 유병철입니다. 일단은 지게 돼서 너무 아쉽고요. 저희가 이길 수 있는 기회도 많았고 저희 발에 넘어진 느낌이라 저희 스스로 그래서 더 아쉬운 것 같습니다. 더 좋은 성적, 더 좋은 결과 낼 수 있다고 생각하고 있습니다. 그냥 이런 팀에서 플레이하게 돼서 너무 기쁜 마음뿐이고 그냥 이 팀원들과 함께 우승까지 해보고 싶습니다. 꼭.
1v3. Pressured. 8 bullets left. 2 bullets left. 1 player remains. Upgrade obtained. Flash over to Tom. And Stacks. You absolute beast.
방콕도 우리 홈그라운드 중 하나라 굉장히 자신 있다고 얘기했었는데 그래서 그런지 저희 함성 소리가 더 컸었던 것 같고 졌을 때는 뭐 사실 홈그라운드든 아니든 그거에 상관없이 그냥 모든 팬분들한테 굉장히 죄송하다는 생각이 드는 것 같고 그냥 뭐 그런 거 상관없이 그냥 이겼을 때의 기쁨이 더 큰 것 같아요. 홈그라운드에서 항상 응원해주셔서 감사하고 실망스러운 모습을 보여드렸지만 다시 돌아올 거라고 약속.
I mean, despite a defeat against Team Vitality, it was still a pretty good showing. But let's talk about their defense side on Fracture here, maybe.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good. They had a lot of game plans for mid-round aggression, re-clearing space, going for crunch plays on the south side in the mid-rounds. They honestly looked super comfortable on this map. Had a lot of good ideas, were executing on it well. They ended up losing, like you mentioned, Chrissy, towards the end of the map. But this was by no means a one-sided Vitality series.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, you're talking a lot about a lot of the coordinated plays between T1 on the defensive side that were working very nicely. I also want to put a highlight on Izu, because I thought what he was doing, controlling Dish very consistently and frequently in mid-rounds, droning it out, realizing, hey, there's no one on the north side. He was constantly getting a lot of these flanks, and that gave almost perfect information for T1 to be able to stack on the right side of the map.
Yeah, you had some really good rounds from the anchors too. Carpe actually stepping up with the judge in quite a few of those moments.
Can't wait to see that again today.
Yeah.
Oh no, Christy, no. But what I would like to see though is Meteor on ISO. How is it possible?
Yes,
we
please.
still haven't seen it. Yeah, and I'm so sad that they didn't choose to go to Lotus last time.
I think it was a big miss in their map, Vito, to not pick into the Lotus. It was open first round. For those that didn't watch Pacific, they played this map 3 times. They played an incredibly unique double duelist Raze ISO comp, which on paper kind of looks to you like trolling ranked comp,
sure.
But it's actually really strong. The way you can fight a rubble control with the ISO shield, the combo plays they have set up with the ISO decay as well is just so good. But They didn't lean into it, and I didn't feel like they really leaned into their strengths in that series.
I mean, truthfully, I hope we see them dip into it today because, like you're saying, I do think that these more like solo queue agents can have a place on Lotus, primarily because the map sort of devolves into a lot of just these opening sort of like team fight angles, whether it's over mound or over rubble space. So having that shield to just sort of be able to brawl with, even the vulnerable to apply with your teammates, can be really effective.
T1, they look their best when they can play these double duelist comps, when they lean into the team fighting, when they lean into some of that chaos, and I didn't feel like they did that enough in that last series.
Yeah, and I'm going to be devastated if they somehow get eliminated without showing the Meteor ISO. We need to see it at least once. But on the other side of this matchup, of course, will be Trace. We saw a little bit of shakiness coming out of them. Their coach Destroyer even admitted that on map 1, they were indeed just very nervous.
Yeah, it was really rough on this first map. It wasn't just players whiffing and looking shaky, but a lot of the team decisions that they ended up making, I think showed that maybe the comms were not at their finest in that first map, right? Players not swinging off each other and getting picked apart by a G2 who looked in peak form, but the second map was a lot less close.
Yeah, it completely slipped away from them. And I have no doubt that the players were maybe a little bit jittery getting onto the stage, but I think the issues ran a little bit deeper for Trace in the sense of their macro. I think it was very readable. Even their Lotus, they were playing the exact same way they've been playing back in China, where every single round on defense, you're going to see them heavy fighting over rubble control. They've got one anchor over towards the seaside, and I think G2 gave a really good example of how to beat that from a macro sense, and I hope that if we see Trace showing up on these maps again, that they've actually gone back and tried to work and create some more variance in their holds.
And I think they also on that second map struggled a lot with playing against the Yoru on Jajimo. G2 had a lot of set plays where they were either fast rotating or having combo plays with the ult off of that, and it felt like when they saw those weird plays, Trace was getting kind of stun locked by those setups in a lot of rounds.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we do have the comps here as well. How do we feel about these changes?
I mean, the truth is, where's the Yoru? Where's the Vise? You know, like, I mean, we've got the Vise on Lotus, but like on Abyss, they're going for the double smokes, which is better. I do think that the Abyss comp, I think, is an improvement on what they had been playing previously, but I really wish they would implement the Yoru. It's been so powerful.
When I was thinking about this team ahead of the tournament, the biggest strength I thought they had was their prep ahead of time. They're a very nerdy team. They like coming up with gimmick comps, and they didn't really show us any of that in the G2 series. They had a month off after VCTCN finish, and obviously a big part of that was the Chinese New Year celebration, so they weren't scrimming the whole time. But I was hoping to see more changes out of this team because the interesting one-off comps is what kind of defined their run in China to me.
I feel like that's what I think we can focus on, right, when it comes to the positives, because they can do things to catch people off guard. They have this identity, which Ender, maybe this is the time and place for them to really show it and come out and show us why they were one of the teams who were excited about coming to this tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to talk about excitement, like this team was farming eco rounds versus G2, right? It seemed like they struggled a lot in their actual rifle rounds against G2, but when they were in these positions where they're allowed to take a little bit more risk, when they got to dip into some more creative strategies that they're either dipping way down deep into the Valo plant or coming up with on the day, that was when they were actually looking at their best in the series.
And in China, it's easy to be a doomer about a team after one match at a Masters tournament where they don't play super well, but this was a team that beat EDG 13-4 in back-to-back maps. They made it to the final of CN and looked like the favorite going into that before losing their one series to EDG. So no matter how rough they looked to start things off, this is a team that has the talent to take down some of the world's strongest teams, but they really have to rally back. The team play has to look better today. The players have to look more confident on that stage, and they have to channel some of the energy they had last Champions when they were upsetting top teams.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the last time we saw them, because we have been talking about the MVP race here at Masters Bangkok, and today is one of those days that we need to see some MVP-esque performances out of these players, and I want to just throw BNK's name into there. He is somebody, like you said, the last time we saw him at Champs, performed. You know, he's always there leading his team. He's there on the scoreboard as well. The util's on point. Also behind some of the more creative things, the ecos we've seen. So if there's anybody that I feel like has the experience and who shouldn't be shaky anymore on this stage, and I feel like if he could somehow lead them to a win over T1, I mean, it might even be an MVP contender.
Yeah, I mean, even in in the series they lost, I thought he was one of the better performing players on the team. Like, it was very clear the guy can still shoot.
Yeah, and like I said, for me, they need somebody to be their MVP, and I'm looking forward to seeing maybe he has what it takes. But on the other side of T1, I think there's a lot of names you can throw in there, but maybe we start with Stacks.
Yeah, I want to go with Stacks, and primarily, well, we saw like the insane clutch clip just a few moments ago when he's on Bind, but he had a lot of really standout rounds in their match up against Vitality, and I also think that he's going to be a really pivotal figure in T1 because they're down in the lower bracket as the leader on the team, trying to bring a sub back into the mix for an international debut. He's going to be having to keep this team calm. He's going to be having to call these rounds and also put up stellar performances like these clutch rounds. Like, that's MVP to me.
Absolutely. This clutch was incredible from Stacks yesterday. And I think what you're saying is even more true when they're subbing Sylvan back into the roster. Having a guy making his debut, a rookie player, under a lot of pressure, you need a veteran like Stacks to keep him in the game. But he's not the only veteran on the team.
No, they've got a couple, and Meteor, I think, is the other
Yeah, he's
choice.
the guy I want to big-time sell, because Meteor had kind of a rough start. I think people have critiqued the Vise for good reason. He is dying first in a lot of these rounds. He's making some mistakes. But on Gen G last year, Meteor was a monster. He's so good at finding the right risks to take, at fighting forward on defense and taking those opportunities, at giving you those big lurk rounds on the attacking side as well. And in a big game like this, when the pressure is on for his team, I think you need to see Meteor digging deep and finding his form from last year that impressed so many people when he was on Gen G. Him joining T1 is one of the biggest reasons why people were saying this is a super team.
Anything to add, Christy?
Honestly, just the fact that I think that for T1 to win the series, I want both Meteor and Stacks to show up, right? I think the sub situation coming in isn't meant to put up insane numbers. That's not what Sylvan meant to this team. It's just a different piece coming in, and while you try to adjust with that, you need the longer standing members to show up in a big way.
Yeah, and they've been here before. We're talking about players that have been in these situations before that also come out on top when they've been in these situations. But I want to know what you guys at home thought, because it's time for the result of our MasterCard fan poll. Earlier, we asked you which team you think will survive in elimination, and you guys have voted Sentinels followed by T1. What do you guys think about this?
I think we're sliding Trace in a big way.
Yep.
Honestly, like my predictions, I think Sentinels are moving through in that second series, although it'll be very close. But honestly, I think that people are overreacting to the Trace loss against G2. This team, like Mimu was saying, were the favorites in China going from the upper bracket until they lost in the finals. They're way better than 6.4%. Come on.
Yeah, I also feel the same way about the ratio on Team Liquid there. Like, they had some really bad rounds in their last game, but this is a team that's great in these lower bracket positions. Their rookies already looked amazing in their debut games, so it's definitely going to be a scary one for Sen later today.
Yeah, but also it was against G2, right? Losing against G2, I feel like, is what normally happens to teams that play against G2.
Yeah, so, no one's beaten G2 except for
the former world champions, you know?
That's what it takes. That's what it takes to be able to beat G2. Liquid, I'm also a little bit surprised, or maybe people think Liquid could, because this is their comfort zone, you know? They have to look a little bit messy at first, and then they get the groove going, and then they're good.
I feel like everyone's just like a major Liquid doubters, though, right? Because it started off a little bit slow in EMEA, and they started moving forward.
But that's how they win, yeah.
Mimi's the ultimate Liquid doubter, right?
Yeah, but that's...
Do you believe yet today? Nope. Well,
yes,
there you go.
Well,
I credit Sentinels.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the predictions since we are talking about this, and it looks like there's a couple of us out there that are Liquid and Trace believers. I'm surprised.
Wait.
Sideshow going for Liquid. I'm very, very, very surprised.
I think it's crazy that me and Yuyansu, we're tied 4-2, but we have opposite predictions say in both series.
Yeah, this is gonna separate the winner, right? We'll see what happens.
Wait,
today.
did I say T1? I think I
Did
predicted
you do that before
Trace.
you knew Carpe was out?
No, I predicted Trace.
No,
I swear I predicted Trace.
Not according to that graphic,
Caught.
You didn't. You didn't.
I guess I'm a Trace doubter. What can I say?
So why is T1 gonna win today then?
Because they're gonna seize the day. They might not have Carpe, but
Wow.
That's awful.
They also don't have DM either. They don't have either of those
No,
things.
he doesn't even play Valorant.
Yeah, they don't have
They didn't
either
come
of
over
those
together.
things. But go on, since Christy gave his pitch, what about you?
Trace have got to bounce back. They were so good at Champions. They were a favorite back in China. This team is better than what they showed. And I think the map pool feels pretty good for them in this series as well.
Well, we'll see about the map pool in just a moment. But for now, it is all about elimination. It's elimination day. Today, 4 teams are in risk of an early exit here from the tournament. It's time to get excited and get ready for T1 versus Trace, Liquid versus Sentinels, because day 4 of Masters Bangkok starts right now.
We're not out yet. Tournaments happen like this all the time where they start and they finish before you know it. There's so many scenarios that could happen, you just have to take it each day.
Everyone is going to come 100% for the next match. We'll show our best and we'll see how that best is going to go. You just need to accept what happens.
Nice! The number one thing for me to focus on would just be our team play and comms. It's a team game, so you can almost never solo carry, so that's a very important thing for me to help the team focus on.
No matter what, we are not gonna give up.
Team Liquid, sucks for you. We're coming.
저희 멘탈리티 서로 원팀으로 서로 잘 잡고 이길 수 있다는 위닝 멘탈리티만 갖고 있으면 진짜 실수 없이 잘 이길 수 있을 것 같습니다.
我想的就是上次8强这次就是再进一步，因为最后一次机会的话，我们会好好珍惜，然后回去。
우리가 첫 경기에서 약한 모습을 보여줬지만 그게 진짜 저희의 모습이 아니라는 점을 다음 경기에서 저희가 똑똑히 보여드리겠습니다.
我觉得我对我的团队肯定是100%信心，然后我们只需要调整好状态，然后迎接下一场就可以。
긴장하세요.
It's the first elimination game of the tournament, and it comes down to Trace and T1. After all of the hard work both teams have put in just to make it to Bangkok, nobody wants to be the first one to go home.
T1 was heralded as a super team from Korea when their roster was picked up in this offseason. Now they have to prove how deep that talent goes when the pressure's on the line.
And look, this place, the bass is absolutely thumping right now. It's loud, you can feel it, and these teams, these players, right, they've got to be able to calm down quickly. Trace, they talked about being nervous in their opening series, and Sylvan here in his debut has to be good from the first round.
And I wonder what maps we're going to get, because as you said, Mimi, there were some maybe mistakes both of these teams made in their previous game when it came to the veto.
Yeah, T1 elected not to pick into their Lotus, which has looked very strong. But that's a shared map that both these teams really love playing. So I expect to see it, but I'm really wondering who picks into it. And
Here
if
we
Trace
go. There you
still
go.
feels confident after that loss, and they do, they'll select that map. And I almost feel like this skews things a bit heavily towards T1, seeing them get Lotus and Haven to start the series.
Yeah, that's definitely a great spot to be in. I really think that for Trace, eyeing into this series, you've got to know that Lotus is going to be on the cards. They just suffered a defeat on that on the other day. Surely they come in with some new ideas here to try and disrupt the mold.
But also, surely you know exactly what T1 like to do on both of these maps.
Sure, they've played it a ton back in Pacific. Haven will be interesting. It's an ISO Yoru from T1 against a Neon composition for Trace, which is something that really only the Chinese teams have been playing in 2025, so very excited for that one. But we're starting off on Lotus, and honestly, the ISO Raze is such a cool, unique comp. I was waiting for T1 to play this.
But the thing is, there's no guarantees that they're locking it in.
They're doing it, they're doing it.
You think so?
I've been praying in my hotel room for Meteor ISO, and we're gonna get it twice today.
So when you look at them playing this comp on defense, watch for the way they're fighting for A lobby control. The ISO shield paired with a Raze nade is surprisingly strong to take that space.
Absolutely, right? It's all about these early opening brawl fights. You can use the Sova too to re-clear if you want to slow down the round in between that as well. Whereas Trace on the other side, they're sticking to their tried and true. Every round, I'm telling you, on defense, they're putting 3 players into those Rebel fights. I really think that second half is going to come all down to that control.
But on attack, they're playing double smokes with the Sentinel. They have a very slow, controlled comp. They're going to have to look to slow this Raze and ISO down, feel that aggression, and find the gaps off of it.
Yeah, and Sylvan playing on that Omen. This is something that he has done before. Nothing super new. He's just going to slot right back into this roster.
Yeah, at least when you're subbing him back and forth with Carpe, they both play the same roles.
So much pressure on him, though. It is lose and you're gone.
It is indeed. We're all set for map 1, so let's throw this over to your casters. And back by popular demand, me, it's Achilles and Paperthin.
If we have one fan, Yinzu is one of them, I guess. Anyway, thank you very much for that. But hello, Achilles and Paperthin back again to take us through the series. T1 versus Trace, elimination on the line here, Paperthin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of these teams definitely going to be coming into this with something to prove. Their outings weren't stellar in their openers. No other way to say it. And here today, they've got to turn things around. We know that both of these teams are capable of doing some serious damage. Just going to come down to some of the execution. Of course, this A Rebel fight is going to be really challenging for Trace Esports. Like the desk was talking about, you have to find your timings to contest it, because if you get hit by any of that ISO util combo, you're dead.
Seems like Trace may be doing their research here. Expecting there's going to be a heavy stack over towards this A side of the map. Instead, they go ahead and push forward in towards B. Contact coming through. Hey, able to find the first kill. Cannot get the second. Still some damage dealt. Zizu falls down to 52. Tap of the plant. Looking like they want to flood back. Wrap around, get through this connector over towards Stax, who's very quickly, quietly backpedaling a little bit deeper into the site. Still going to be out of the open, but nails the first shot.
Spike down, C.
A leg hit there on the Feng Feng. It goes down to 79, but a 3v3 now.
Oh, they're watching for this push.
Spike planted.
Feng Feng trying to bait them forward here, try to sell. Nakai is not waiting around the corner, but it's going to be Meteor wrapping in from Water, who now goes ahead and spoils the plan. Kai's still going to be able to find one. Last pack tossed, Izu now pinching. As Feng Feng knows that he is isolated and alone, is able to find one. Meteor pushes forward and gets shut down. Red Bull Clutch gets Trace the pistol.
Well, and this is something Trace is going to need big time today. Feng Feng was really struggling in their last outing. He just wasn't that player that I'm used to seeing when I watch their VODs in China. He is absolutely electric at times. He's really aggressive. He's going to push space really nicely. And here the whole time, doing a great job locking down the back of the site of C, making sure that T1 can't really get that flank going the way that they want to, and is able to read both those positions very, very nicely. But overall, it's a good game plan from TE from the get-go. Avoid that A Rebel fight, work the map, really nice stuff from them.
Out into the open, here goes Feng Feng Buzz, however, able to just dance around some of those shots, finds the headshot and puts him down. Up and not going to be recoverable here for the moment, but oh, the TP for it from Looking. Very ill-advised. Immediately, gun scooped up. 2-player advantage here for the side of T1. As they look to win out this eco, something that they were damn good at doing over in Kickoff in Pacific.
Meteor still thinks he's playing Sentinel. Hiding behind the box over here.
He's tucked in, waiting for any kind of noise. There's a push for the right click. Finds it! And he gets the transfer onto Kai! Oh, this round! It's all T1! As we go from Red Bull Clutch into MasterCard Thrifty and tie things up 1-1.
I mean, Trace just feeling like they can take that fight at long range, and you should be able to, but Feng Feng sung his praises from the previous round. This round with a Bulldog gets one shot to land, and that's it. And then they're going to try to contest this gun. They're going to try to protect it. to keep it away from T1's hands. Buzz is standing up. He's fired up.
He is jazzed off the rip. We often talk about angry Buzz. It seems like he's starting things off like that.
He's been talking a lot, saying that his team is better than what they showed in their opener.
He's going forward, okay, able to get in behind, gets a couple taps there, but cannot take down Meteor. That shield doing wonders for him as Buzz mows down 2 more. The pitch, red, Stacks able to go ahead and get the ping out, goes for the push, gets the headshot. As T1 look for a flawless, and they will find it.
Well, this is just an attempt here by TE to see if they can find ways around this smothering A-Robo control that you're able to generate with the ISO in particular because of the walls and the vulnerables that you're able to send flying through. A lot of times it's hard to deal with that, so they try to TP past it to see if they can maybe confuse them enough, but with the double tap available for Meteor, excuse me, it was just a little difficult. Of course, the weaker weaponry not helping anything there. Now you've got mostly even guns, a couple bulldogs for a few players of T1. It's TE now making an aggressive push towards C. Pressure going to be put down onto Izu.
Dancing around the cage, but Boombot not scouting, and now he's striking. Kai does get taken down, but Fung Fung quick to reply. Brings it back to parity, but now Bianc pulled into the netherworld as Meteor looks to maintain dominance here, but it's going to be Bianc snappy to get the double headshot across. Takes him down in the meantime. Fung Fung does get lost. 3v3, the Guardian shots not quite connecting. Bianc able to safely get the spike planted. T1 for now. Slowing up the action, creeping their way forward. Shock Dart, minor little connection going to be found there. Taunt gets a double reveal, and Bianc plays off it beautifully. Shot the Sylvan. Buzz trying to push forward, low on HP, has to tuck back. Not much more on Stacks' shoulders. Trying to swing this round, but he's going to be the first one that falls. And it looks like the call is going to be with Phantom in hand to potentially drift out of here. Buzz likely feeling like he's going to be committed, wants to try to make this as costly as possible. If he can keep them in the sight, that could be value. It's all 3 players damn nearby, but Bianc will be able to find a 4-piece to tie things up at 2-2.
Yeah, this is just a nice timing hit from Trace Esports. They just say, let's push the tempo a little bit. Let's test Izu. Let's see what he's made of. Not too often we see Meteor losing in those kill contracts. At least over in Pacific, he was really damn good. He was like 17-6 or something like that throughout the entirety of the kickoff stage. And winning that is a huge boon. They're able to keep Bianc alive, and he was their top fragger on this map the last time they played it. So now he's got a Nightfall to boot. T1 still has enough to buy guns. They're going to maintain this split, but they're going to shift over really quickly. They're reacting. Trace was thinking about trying to take this site.
Two going to be noted, goes in for the cam, but the dart not connecting. Oh, no, does get a slight little reveal there. He's looking up over the top, trying to just dance around and find him, but as he plants his feet, will be able to finally take down Izu. Bit of a back and forth here. 2 for 2 overall. As the Thorns go out, Shock Dart into the corner. Bouncing down even lower. It seemed Bianc gets away with that one unscathed.
Yeah, it was an attempt by T1 to delay this, but the trades were good for both sides. It's an even fight. Spike down. A little bit of util left. Still have the paranoia from Sylvan. Here it goes. I don't think it catches anybody.
I don't believe it does, but Buzz able to catch a headshot. Sylvan similarly finding Hebei. The 1v2, Kai trying to find it. But he cannot divide and conquer. Defuse will come in, T1 reestablishing a slight lead.
This is just a tempo call here from T1. They're sensing that it worked in the previous round for Trace, so they might just try the same kind of thing again. A pacey hit towards the C site. Let's rotate a few players over a little bit faster. You get Stacks and Meteor over there. You're able to get those trades. You're able to set yourself up for this retake. Cover these angles nicely. Yeah, it was good. Agree. Agree, Stacks. They needed that one. The Nightfall was invested for Trace in that round. You've got a bunch of ults for T1. Got the Showstopper. Got the Hunter's Fury.
Buy downs here on the side of Trace. 3 rivals coming through. And okay, Buzz gunned down by the classic of all things. Looking able to find that kill. Stacks, however, Hunter's Fury opened up. Hey, Fung on the floor. 2 quick kills to suddenly just give T1 the advantage. And now that is capitalized upon as Sylvan finds Low King. Bianca cannot steady the spray.
Spike down A.
Meteor cuts him down to size, and now Kai just tucked here, waiting, ready. Just find one. But Widely needs to try to just hold on to this weapon. Still, though, is drifting ever closer towards the spike, towards the 2-player stack.
Everybody's a little weak. There's an opportunity here for Kai. That tight angle, so difficult.
Dissipates it, finds the first one. Meteor taken even lower, suddenly in with a shout. The wall comes up. Izu out on the flank, however. Needed the headshot there, cannot find it. Izu keeps his teammate alive. Keeps T1 in the lead.
I mean, this is just fast and furious for Trace Esports. There's no pulling off of the gas pedal for them. And he gets the reveal there at the door of A. Catches 2 players with it. Huge. Monstrous. Huge from Stacks. There's that wall. Makes it difficult to figure out exactly what's going on. Well timed between Meteor and Izu to make sure that they could clean up that kill without any further damage. Timeout for Trace. Gotta rethink this. This is tough. I mean, what I'd like to see Trace do is, frankly, slow the pace down. I mean, that's something that can give T1 problems. They're happy to scrap with you. That's APAC, baby. And I know that, you know, in China it's quite similar, honestly, but that's something that T1 can thrive in, especially on this map. They're so good with the reaction, particularly Meteor, throwing out the vulnerables. You'll see some combos with Stacks with the shock darts even that are just off the cuff, and they're just nailing them. And it's really impressive the way that T1 can function on this map with this comp. It is a very scary thing to try to get breakthrough.
Yeah, 2025 Stacks on Sova, very different from the previous iterations.
Oh, poor Stacks.
No, not poor Stacks. He finally figured it out.
That's true. He has improved a lot on Sova.
Learned how to play it. But I fully agree with you. When you have that ISO on the opposite side, being able to slow down the pace, avoid these undercuts where you're just storming out in towards rubble, in towards mound, wherever it may be.
Yep.
Suddenly you're vulnerable, and you know that shock dart can tear you apart. That one shot to the chest can really shatter your team.
Or you get hit by a raise nade. There's a bunch of crazy combos that they can pull off with this, and the contingency is a real problem for dealing with rubble control. And then the vulnerables, they have all these great angles because you can send it through the walls, so you're able to catch people out of place where they think they're safe and they're actually not. Looks like it's going to be another attempt at C, but T1 kind of ahead of the curve here.
Oh, showstopper to open things up. That's going to be Buzz and Sylvan both taken down. Gets the trade onto one, but double casualty. Certainly not something that T1 were looking for.
Where does that land? Buzz was on the box. Sylvan, I thought, was underneath him. Nice shot, though, from Fung.
Must have been enough splash just to be able to take them both down either way. Best opener the Trace has had in a while. It's undercut, forcing Kai back. Meteor pushing forward, instantly finding the headshot. Gets the reset here on the shield. Double tap in play. Nice. As the double swing comes through, Bianca will be able to take him down. A 2v3 now. Zizu going to be noted. The Def getting the reveal. Oh, he gets the one tap. Done to the middle! What is that transfer? Izu! That should be outlawed! That should be illegal!
What is this? I mean, this is such a good round, I thought, from Trace. I love the way they played this. Oh, the showstopper like hits right next to the box. What a shot. And then they do a great job making sure that the double tap of Meteor isn't going to be effective. They're going to line a couple players up and make sure they can't do anything about it. And then Izu just does that. It's unfair.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. They're frozen because they're frozen in awe. They don't know how to react. Unbelievable. And for Trace, it's just such a kick in the gut.
My ult is ready. And there's that combo. Maybe now Trace, I think, can take a bit of a pause and then maybe make another attempt at taking A rubble. The problem is that T1 loves to get aggressive off this. They love to push deeper towards A main and take control and really force you to the other sides of the map. Force you into these combos. I mean, you're going to see Meteor and Stacks playing together a lot on this map. There it is right there. They're going for that vulnerable shock dart combo. Not going to be able to connect. He dodges it.
Sees here on the Izu, Prowler on the chase. The ping reveal though, and Fung going to be dead through the box. Lil King able to push forward into the cage, finds a headshot with the Sheriff. Weapon can be recovered as Sylvan now TPing across the map over towards the CT side. Clock will show the rest is cleared. But Meteor, he has the kill contract. He knows that a lot of them have weaker weaponry.
Showstopper as well.
And he's just going to look to try to send this here. But for now, Thorn sent. And there's the grab on the Lil King. Does have a Vandal in hand, but can he win out the fight? The answer is going to be no. In the meantime, Buzz off camera, able to find Hebe, able to find Kai. And that's T1 finding a 6th round win.
And this is the other layer to this T1 comp, and you're going to see it on Haven as well, that you can set up for retake so nicely. You can set up for execute so nicely, because you're going to be feeding alt orbs. You're going to be feeding charges into Meteor as best as you can. And he's going to be able to eliminate a player from the equation. Everybody else can flood in off the back of it. That's a great ping out there. That really bailed Izu out, because he looked like dead to rights to me. Meteor there, quick one tap for the win. And another good reveal from Stax. So some good Sova utility, really getting some value for the IGL of T1.
For Trace, having already committed a timeout, pulling the trigger on that second one in the same half. Continues to be one of the most difficult things for coach to be able to do, but if T1 continues to snowball after this purchase here from Trace, their economy down to the dumps once again, might just have to be the last-ditch effort. Entry coming across here towards Rebel. Sylvan just going to be dropping down. Kai able to find one as Meteor hits the floor. Sylvan swinging out to the corner, still going to be good for one, but then gets traded back by Hebe. Once again, player advantage here for the side of Trace. As rotations have since begun. Buzz for now, tucked in behind the box, spots out a leg, swings out, finds one, but Hebe able to collect Izu from behind. Ooh, Stax now last one standing, but it's an immense amount of damage there.
They should know exactly where he's coming from.
Planted.
Let the dart, they're going to even use the Nightfall here just to guarantee it. I mean, you can see how desperately they want to win this.
He's looking for the timing, almost does get it. But Kai will be able to plant feet and find the kill. Trace break the round win streak here from T1 and get their 3rd on the board.
Yeah, this is an interesting round because T1 actually saves their util off the rip. They don't go for that aggressive contingency into paranoia, into paint shells combo that we see a lot. They held on to a lot of that util, and Sylvan was able to hit a paranoia, but was in a bad spot off the back of it. Meteor just losing a lurk duel out on B. Good recognition by Trace Esports. That's something Meteor has been trying to push for his team. They're able to shut it down that time. Now we're going back to the typical Rebel control. Hebe does get vulnerable. The paint shells are in his face, but able to back off just fine. Now you can see Stax, Meteor, and Buzz all lining up to try to make an aggressive move.
Require not spotted by the Prowler there. It tucks in underneath. Now is still going to be standing as they're trying to pressure out Kai. Breaks the shield, but Buzz there with that covering fire. They're locked in from the sheer wall, but nobody else really wants to try to challenge, as you would suspect. But okay, it looks like Bianca is going to be up to task. Swoops in, finds one, but now Sylvan taking space outside of A lobby. Just continues to cycle this spike down to the floor. Fung, does he read this lurk forward? He does not. T1 will ensure that Trace cannot get any consecutive round wins.
I mean, T1 is just so aggressive on this map because of that A-Rebel control that they can take. And this time they say, all right, let's throw the util at A, and then we're going to immediately shift over to B. 3-man push it, use that shield to gain a little bit of an advantage. They got the spot onto Kai with the drone. He had no backup. Stax knew it. They're able to punish that and really just break TE apart piece by piece. Now coming into this round, you got that usual combo. Try to take a Rebel control. Buzz playing pretty far back though. Nade splashes a little bit of damage into Fung, going for the spray to try to see if they could find a little bit more, but it's a weaker buy. It's a half buy for Trace Esports into this round.
But I like the passive passivity here from T1. Is that a word? I don't know. Either way.
It is.
Okay, there you go. Nailed it. Inadvertently, which is also a word. But I like the passivity here, just pulling back, anticipating there's going to be a bit more aggression given the economy here from the side of Trace. Under a little bit of space control.
Yeah, and this is one of the things you have to do against this T1 comp, is you have to make T1 guess when they can dump that util. And make it difficult for them to connect, because if they connect on it, it's basically round over GG. But T1 here has completely abandoned the C site. Hebei and Kai are going on a bit of an exploration, looking to see if they can find that open space. Tripwire right at the door, camera above. Hebei, here's the camera, trying to find the angle to clear it. Does.
He's back in position. Yeah. Meteor also rotating off of this, though. Well, that opens up this A site a little bit more. Still 3 players here. Zach's tucked in behind the connector door. They're going to break, they're going to prowl. As it immediately gets a catch. Strafes across, Paranoia just going to be holding it down, but he's close enough to spot out the outline. Turns back! Gets the 180 onto Loking. And now the spike is stranded. No hope in hell as Stacks looks for an ace. Kai's so very low, but he just can't quite give it to him. Sylvan will be the finisher in the round as T1 stretch it now by 5, 8-3. Last round of the half coming up.
And this is a huge play by Stacks. He does such a great job in the heat of the moment here. Works that Paranoia, so the nearsightedness gives him a clear view of who's going to be coming through that wall. He's able to reposition off the back of the Prowler so nicely. Find a huge 4K. Saw a glimpse of the beast on Bind. Are we going to see more from the IGL of T1? That classic clutch king that he used to be. Hebei here. He's going to be keeping eyes on the util, but it's pretty typical for T1. Throw the vulnerable. Send Meteor back over to B. Stacks leaning heavily towards C, really thinking that this is going to be where they're going to go. It helps when you have full A rubble control, and you know that they're not putting any pressure in that direction. Cameron's going to be out at Mound this time, so they're going to maybe get a bit of an earlier read on it as well. Gets cleared. Or going to be, yep.
The Hunter's Fury just off the orb contact, and Izu just swings out, finds BK. The Hunter's Fury confirms that no one else is pushed forward in towards that smoke at the entryway.
See, Hebei?
Sylvan, well, he's certainly been spotted, but he just challenges for the fight and wins it.
Huge.
Stacks will get dropped here at B. That being the call to pivot, but looks like it's going to be Kai wrapping back around to try to join in with the rest of the team. They still have this showstopper in play. Last round of the half, no point in not using it, but Hebei dying means that they don't have that pit. They never get to invest that ultimate to try to secure a post plant.
Izu hasn't played this position before.
It is a bit of a change up. Double blast pack still available. Showstopper out and over. Can't see a damn thing. And Izu now ready to strike. Transfers once again onto 3. The 4K will give T1 a 9-3 half.
This is clinical from T1. Playing the map the way they want to. Then they had their way in this first half.
For Trace, still needing to wake up. Let's see if they can do it. A bit reprieve here as we take a break for the halftime.
Had it with your old phone? We've got you. At Verizon, trade in any old phone for iPhone 16 Pro on us, on any plan. And get iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all 3 on us. That's up to $2,000 in value, only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Alrighty, we are back and about to go into the second half here on Lotus. Desk was highlighting it. This map draft seemingly so good for the side of T1, but maybe Trace will come alive after getting over some of those stage jitters. The coach talking about how nervous the players kind of were getting back onto this international stage. That hasn't quite been the case here. Everything that T1 has thrown at them, Trace have really struggled to get a grasp of it.
Absolutely. And, you know, you've got some of the most experienced players ever in Valorant esports history on the other side across the stage from you. It is very tough. I will say this. This was, in my estimation, Trace's better side of the map on their defender side. They like to play a lot of flood retake. They do a really good job of intentionally giving up space and setting up to counterpunch you. And I think trying to take a lot of space early, that almost got Fung Fung.
Tucks back, still making plenty of noise as he tucks through those cyber cages. But Izu is going to start the wrap around with the rest of the squad here. Kai, Hebe, the ones asked to try to hold the line here as Thorns open up in front of this C entrance, and T1 collectively will drift away.
Yep. Weren't able to find the wall, but a little bit of ice utility might make you think it's there anyway. No Yoru here to make it a little easier to get past some of that Vice utility for the side of T1. So they're going to have to be really diligent, something that G2 was so good at on their attacker side, was identifying the Vice util, baiting it out early, and then working the map a little bit more off the back of that. Still, though, Trace had really good reactions. They were really well coordinated as a team. The comms looked good to me on this half when they played G2 on their defender side, so going to need a little bit more of that. Is it just going to be a full retake? I love this from Stax. You got a little bit of util baited out, and now you can try and go back to that side of the map. Create a little bit of noise, let Meteor lurk, see if you can break through to the C site.
Trying to nail the timing here. If they can get the strike going on C, get those rotations beginning, and then have Meteor into the back lines, and this could be absolutely devastating. As there goes the paint shell. Contact about to come through. He hears the footsteps, and Meteor able to collect it there with the final shot through the corner. Buzz does get taken down. Hebe slide for just the one kill. Sylvan now cycling the smoke. Run the clock down, but they still get the spike planted here in time. And Kai swinging out, will be able to get Sylvan, but Izu's there from behind to shut him down. Stax now just swinging around the corner. BNK cannot make it happen. Stax with two will get T1 their first pistol win as they get up to double digits.
Gotta tip my cap to Stax on this round in a couple different ways. The IGLing so good. His movement there, that micro movement at the end to not give himself up easily to BNK. Really, really good. Meteor coming up huge on the lurk. This is a great round from T1. One of the best I've seen from them on a pistol this year. This is a really smart game plan. They saw some of the things that were working for G2, implemented it here against Trace. Hebe was having a really tough time on that C site. If you can divert attention and just leave Hebe on an island on C as the Viper, he gets beat up, to be honest. And he really struggled against G2.
Vandal in hand, Sylvan with a Guardian. Otherwise, two Ghosts and a Spectre. A site pretty much completely opened up here for them. T1 going to be getting a very fast plant. Is looking for the spray. That's a headshot. And I think he might have caught a glimpse there. Yeah, BNK now desperately backpedaling, trying to get away out towards safety. Keeps himself alive here for the moment. As shot dart into the corner, that is going to be his demise. Stax claims the first, Buzz gets the second. Swings in, looks for a little bit more, and is rewarded.
Oh, just look at the way they were staggering that utility. Buzz finds 3. One left here for Trace, just Kai. Okay.
He'll die, but Buzz, I think he'll be happy to take that. He's got so many charges towards that showstopper. Given the number of rounds that are likely left in this map, and being able to build up a showstopper to potentially close it, that could be the final nail in the coffin.
You're absolutely right. This is just great post-plant aggression here. The way that they combo this with the boom bot into the paint shells, into the shock dart to make sure that everything behind this wall is going to at least take some damage. And then Buzz is able to swing off of it nicely, find 3 kills. So far, so good for T1. Now you got a big-time bonus coming up for Trace. They are going to invest in an Odin. Try to get BNK rolling with this thing. A little bit of damage done to just Stacks, it looks like.
Tiny little bit there. Lets him know, yep, I'm still here, still spraying. Sylvan needs a hell of a lot more as he gets whittled away down to 45. Clear on the haunt, though. Nothing more to be spotted. Takes a pause, goes for the reload.
Ooh.
Here. chipped away at. T1 just
at his wall,
narrowly dancing around this, but yeah, sheer wall set up. Push across, undercut, going to be sent through towards tree, but pushes forward, is able to find one, and Buzz is not going to be fast enough to get the punish. Paint shell out, Meteor trying to charge in, does end up getting taken down, but Izu striking from that flank. Forward into B, opens up the site, and now the spike going to be pivoted around. 3v3 with weapons upgraded. Kai, first to arrive here at upper.
They let Buzz to watch the flank.
Shot's going to be sent. Recon not going deep enough, doesn't get a notice there.
Look at Luo King, he's lost. He's trying to figure out where Izu went.
He knows at all. He's just being so passive, so cautious. In the meantime, the spike has been ticking. Stax planting his feet, finding Kai. Luo King now finally arriving. Gets that one final bullet across to put down T1's IGL, but the time is just not on his side. Paint shells to further delay. And at this point, he has to know the round is basically over. Needs to pull off some absolute heroics, but Izu doesn't skip a beat. Swoops in right when he was needed. And that's T1 now up to map point.
This is quite an interesting round. I thought Trace playing this pretty nicely. This combo with the Razor Vines and the walls completely bamboozles T1, but only Sylvan pays the price for it. Buzz is quick to react, to get up on top of the box, to provide some cover fire, and then back right off. Take that trade and get out. Stax here winning a tough fight. Kai just a little bit off the mark. Seems like Trace fairly rattled. We're going to try one last desperate timeout to see if they can string some rounds together. Again, even if you're not winning this map, it's so crucial to find some round wins, to get yourself back in the game, to get yourself mentally more into things, to get that confidence flowing again that Trace so desperately needs.
And we saw it from that outset, that opening pistol, but how quickly was that flame snuffed as T1 pull off an eco round in the second. It was just brutal, and it feels like Trace has not been able to recover since then.
Truly. And to be fair, some of the moments have just been straight up hero plays from T1, but you're gonna have that. And you're not having your heroes step up for Trace Esports. Kai's having an okay map, but Feng has been widely shut down. He's had a few impressive moments, a cool showstopper. Bianche, who was your top fragger against G2, has been widely kept in check. Heibei struggling, Luo King in particular, having a real hard time on that Omen. Not something you see very often. Usually Luo King is very consistent.
Yeah. Chekhov's showstopper, previously mentioned 2 rounds ago, is now online and ready to go. Buzz is going to send it off the rip. Chasing forward in towards that connector. He can hear the footsteps. He knows that they are just sprinting in fear. Where does he send it? Does he choose correctly? My God, he has. Feng not knowing what hit him. Is this the beginning of the end here on Lotus? 4v5, Spike already planted some players nearby. Bianche able to note one. There's that close right, but now there's a shorty waiting for him, but he won't even get the meat at Sylvan. Takes his head clean off, and there you have it. In the blink of an eye, it all comes tumbling down. 13-3, T1.
That is
off this series in such a huge way.
That is a statement game from T1. Definitely not going out quietly. They have punched back in a big way.
That they do. Trace now needing to recover once again with Haven. T1's map pick on the horizon. We'll see you guys after the break.
Do it again. Watch me win. Then watch me do it again.